Here's one of our favorite jerks turning on the waterworks.
You're always about lifting up everybody around you, everybody.
Of course.
Why is that?
You have to. You have to lift people up.
Do you think our democracy is at risk in this election?
I think that it is. I always keep saying democracy is great, of course, but democracy people take for granted. It's a word that some people don't even understand. They take it for granted. It's about right and wrong.
It's been a bizarre week in the American media landscape. On one side of the screen, Greg Gutfeld is playing a high-stakes game of investigative chess, while on the other, Robert De Niro has apparently mastered the art of vanishing into thin air. One moment, this Hollywood icon is shouting into the microphone with legendary fury, and the next, he's quieter than a dead zone in a blackout. So what exactly was exposed during this transition? And why does it feel like the late-night comedy world just accidentally unmasked something far more explosive than a simple joke? Stay tuned, because this narrative is picking up serious speed.
Last night, an elderly, confused man went missing in New York. Luckily, a band of self-satisfied elitists found him babbling on the street, threw some pants on him, gave him a stage.
Oh my God.
I'm going to say one thing.
The guy's a monster. He is beyond wrong. It's almost like he wants to do the most horrible things that he can think of in order to get a rise out of us. I don't know what it is, but he's been doing it, and it's...
If you're finding this breakdown valuable, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the channel. What the mainstream media initially dismissed as a typical celebrity spat has slowly morphed into something much more sinister. Right now, it looks like a high-stakes game of Hollywood cat and mouse, with one of the most decorated actors in history suddenly acting like he's completely forgotten his script.
Lawrence O'Donnell's 5 years younger than Trump. And Rachel Maddow's been dressing the same for 20 years, like Wally Cleaver. The same clothes. And the star of Dirty Grandpa, Robert De Niro, getting censored by The View after raging like a bull who saw a red MAGA hat.
And they might think that it's going to make their life better, or they just want to, excuse my French.
Robert De Niro built his entire legacy on raw, unfiltered intensity and a fearless reputation for saying exactly what he thought, no matter who it offended. But the second the spotlight turned into an interrogation and real, pointed questions were directed his way, that booming voice suddenly went mute. It wasn't just a pause. It was a total fade into the background.
Nothing I like more on a Sunday than some old guy spewing F-bombs.
This guy should not be president, period.
And when you say that, folks on Fox come after you. I remember the Tonys when he got up there and cursed. A lot of of you. Okay, well, you know, this is cable, so it's not an FCC violation, but it is still a Sunday morning.
That was Bobby De Niro promoting his new movie, Grumpy Old Man 7, More Strained Peas. Actually, he was triggered by our nation's hall monitor.
What caused this sudden shift from televised bravado to the absolute radio silence we're witnessing today? And how did Greg Gutfeld, a man the elite media loves to dismiss as a mere cable news comedian, end up at the center of a controversy that is clearly outgrowing the typical talk show cycle?
You have to bring them together. Period. You can't divide people. You can't win that way. It's a no-win situation. And look what we have. Look who we have there. It's almost like a destiny to have this thing there, attempting to destroy this country.
De Niro spent decades cultivating a persona as an untouchable, fearless orator. His performances were more than just movies. They were cultural statements, and in real life, he was never one to sit quietly in the corner. He didn't just express opinions. He delivered them like they were gospel. From high-level politics to social issues, there was no topic too hot for him to handle with a confidence that dominated the news cycle. Fans always believed that if De Niro made a radical statement, he had the conviction to back it up with the same grit he brought to the big screen. But that belief is now being shattered in real time. Enter Greg Gutfeld, a host recognized for his razor-sharp wit and an uncanny ability to turn a simple critique into a precise, relentless investigation, hitting a nerve that no one realized was so raw. The tension exploded when Gutfeld started connecting the dots between De Niro's most inflammatory remarks and his subsequent disappearance from the public eye. The audience immediately caught on as the whispers turned into an undeniable trend.
The host acts dumb, not a stretch, as if he didn't see this coming from a guy who talks like a one-man Navy.
This idiot is the president. The guy is a fool. Our government today, with the prompting of our baby-in-chief, has in chief, I call him.
That's some reliable source you got there. This is what moms call bad language, or what producers call great TV.
In the past, Robert De Niro would take any stage to speak his mind with absolute certainty, but now he seems to be fleeing from any venue where he might be held accountable or asked to defend his narrative. Initially, the change was easy to overlook, but as the pattern solidified, it became impossible to ignore. Greg Gutfeld didn't lead with a typical insult. His approach was one of genuine, piercing curiosity. Instead of just mocking the actor, he began to interrogate the consistency and basic honesty of De Niro's latest public stances. What specific claims did De Niro make that he is now seemingly terrified to stand by? And why were Gutfeld's inquiries so effective that the only response from the Hollywood camp wasn't a counter-argument? It was a full-scale retreat. As observers monitored De Niro's schedule, the void became glaring. It wasn't just a lack of interviews. It was a strategic, deliberate effort to avoid anyone willing to scratch beneath the surface.
I find that he's smartest when they drop his audio. But, you know, it's kind of sad because you can see, like, people who are stuck in some kind of, I don't know, derangement, they can't see it themselves. And they're not surrounded by people telling them that they have a problem. And they lack self-awareness because everybody either tells them they're wonderful or wants to sell them cocaine. So he has no clue what he's doing. And he's upset over the emotional nature. His anger is emotional.
Hollywood is no stranger to scandal, and we're used to seeing stars duck the paparazzi. But there is a massive difference between being media shy and completely evaporating when direct, uncomfortable questions arise. That distinction has created a genuine cultural crisis because this vanishing act doesn't look like a standard PR cool-down period. Instead of a controlled media strategy, it looks like an avoidance tactic born out of pure discomfort. And that discomfort appears to be linked to real-world consequences. Greg Gutfeld refused to let the issue die. He kept digging until he laid the entire situation bare. Here is a man with one of the most influential voices in the world who now seems physically unable to defend the very causes he once screamed about from the rooftops. Social media platforms are currently erupting, with reactions stacking up faster than a standard Hollywood news story. Some apologists claim Gutfeld is just manufacturing a spectacle for the ratings. However, as the segments continued, Gutfeld's points became more surgical, focusing on the actual substance of the claims rather than just the drama.
Niro cried like that was when he got a lap dance from a white woman.
They're bony.
Sherrod.
Yes.
What happened to De Niro? That was the Cape Fear guy.
No, that was De Niro. That was like De Niro when they killed the Joe Pesci character in Goodfellas.
Yes.
It's like he's going nothing nobody can do. What do you mean he's good?
Well, now I'm not going to watch it.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, he's an older guy. Old men cry.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a book by Judy Blume or somebody?
He wasn't just making fun of the fact that De Niro was missing in action. He was exposing massive contradictions and demanding the kind of answers that make it impossible to dismiss this as just another celebrity feud. Behind the scenes, the industry chatter is reaching a fever pitch. Insiders are now whispering that De Niro's absence is far from a coincidence. It looks like a highly calculated tactical retreat. You have to ask yourself, what motivates a public figure to suddenly go dark, especially after making such aggressive public declarations? People don't go into hiding when their foundation is solid. They pull back when they recognize a catastrophic risk to their reputation, their brand, or their legacy. There is a massive lesson here in how the elite handle pressure. Some talk a big game when the teleprompter is running, but the audience can see the moment the performance fails once the record light goes off. The debate has split the public. While some defend De Niro's right to stay silent, saying he owes the public nothing, it fails to explain the timing. When blatant inconsistency meets total avoidance, people start asking, Is this just a bad PR move, or is there a much deeper reason for the retreat?
National figure at peak derangement and goaded into snapping. It's like cabaret for the chronically obsessed. It's like when you were a kid and would pull wheelies on Old Man Johnson's front yard. Finally, he just cracks. He's holding a spatula, chasing you around in his open robe. That's the De Niro CNN business model in a nutshell. Money for nothing and clicks for free. Of course, the real story is how accusations of Trump's nutty behavior always ends up with the accusers.
Greg Gutfeld's analysis tapped into that collective suspicion. And once the viewers saw the contradictions for themselves, they couldn't unsee them. The story is going viral much faster than typical gossip because this isn't just about movies. It's about the death of authenticity and the lack of accountability in a woke culture that demands scrutiny for everyone else but its icons. People love a mystery, especially when it involves an untouchable legend whose image is starting to crack. The irony is staggering. De Niro, a man who built a career playing tough guys who look danger in the eye, is now the living embodiment of someone crumbling under the weight of his own words. TV history proves that some stars can survive a scandal as long as they keep it entertaining. But when a controversy requires actual evidence and accountability, even the strongest voices start to fracture. Gutfeld didn't manufacture this scandal. He simply asked the questions that needed to be asked. And in doing so, he forced a retreat that no one saw coming.
Think practical.
You're right. And remember, he is the most boring interview. He used to sell his movies on Leno and Letterman, and it was like watching a WNBA game. You just were bored to death. And then all of a sudden, Trump became president, and he started saying things, I want to punch the president in the face. You know, he's a crooked piece of... And then all of a sudden, De Niro became interesting during his media tours. And that's the only way now he can get publicity for his...
That retreat is the real story because the way someone behaves when they are cornered reveals more than a scripted speech ever could. The public's reaction to De Niro's sudden silence hasn't been uniform. Some claim that silence is a strategy and that he is simply protecting his dignity by not engaging. Silence can indeed be a weapon when it's used with intent. But there is a canyon-sized gap between purposeful silence and fear-based avoidance. When it feels reactive and desperate, the public reads it as a lack of confidence, not a sign of strength. That's where the narrative gets interesting. People are no longer just questioning what De Niro said. They are obsessed with what he's refusing to say. They are wondering about the closed-door meetings and why a man so famous for his boldness now looks so hesitant. When a simple shift like this turns a comedy segment into a national investigation, it becomes a permanent part of the cultural record. Viewers aren't just watching for the drama. They want the truth. This is the moment where people stop scrolling and start paying attention. And the mystery of what De Niro does next is exactly what has everyone hooked.
I don't know about you, but I think it's a testament to Trump that he made De Niro cry. I mean, that's kind of an honor, like to say I made Robert De Niro cry. Yeah. It's a big deal. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. Is he a crier or not? Because if he's not a crier and okay, imagine he's not a crier and he just cries over this. If I were his wife, I would be so pissed.
Yes.
Yeah. They just had a baby. Imagine he does not cry when the baby is...
The real twist in this saga isn't just that Robert De Niro went silent. It's that his silence is currently screaming louder than any monologue he's ever delivered. His total absence has become the most interesting part of the conversation. This shift is exactly what turned a simple late-night segment into a massive cultural phenomenon. It serves as a reminder that in our high-speed media world, failing to show up can communicate more than 1,000 words, especially when the public is waiting for a long-overdue explanation. As this story continues to develop, one thing is certain. The audience isn't looking for a catchy soundbite or a scripted tweet. They want real meaning. They want context. They want answers that go deeper than the usual Hollywood platitudes. How a person stands their ground when challenged is how they earn respect. Words without the courage to defend them are just noise. And when a man famous for speaking truth to power avoids power's questions, people want to know why. Greg Gutfeld didn't create this moment. He just shone a light on it and let the world see what was already there.
Calls Trump crazy as he goes crazier. Adam Schiff calls Trump a liar as he makes up quotes. Dems talk about undermining institutions as they try to undermine an election.
But when asked for reasons why Trump shouldn't be president, all Bobby had were sputtering F-bombs. His resistance had run out of script. It was just another role without dialogue, so he had to improvise. But I handed to CNN, it got me to watch, and by having it on the 5, it quadrupled their audience. Congrats to Stelter and CNN for that 1 minute.
As we observe the fallout of this unexpected collapse, the real question isn't just, where is Robert De Niro? It's what happens next? Will he finally step out and address the contradictions? Will we ever get a straight answer? Or will this silence become the defining characteristic of his late career legacy? The outcome of the standoff will determine whether this is just a footnote in entertainment history or the moment the untouchable Hollywood elite finally lost their grip on the narrative. The tension isn't just on the news. It's in every comment section and every late-night debate where the same question is being asked. Why did De Niro run? And what does that say about his integrity today? What started as a simple media critique has evolved into a masterclass on perception versus reality and the shocking fragility of a reputation we once thought was made of iron. Every day he stays hidden adds to the intrigue, making every small public move feel like a major statement. Greg Gutfeld's role in this shows how true influence works. He didn't just comment on the story, he changed the headline entirely. The result is a cultural landmark that is still rippling through an audience that thought they knew who Robert De Niro really was. If you want to see how this Hollywood meltdown ends, hit that like button and subscribe for the latest updates.